everybody. Welcome back.
Um,
How are you feeling? How's your week been?
I feel okay. My week has been a little different, I would say. We did our usual. We watched Disney movies, and we we tried to go out for a little bit. Didn't really work out too well, but um, I we have like zones. I would call them like safe zones. He says that this is a safe zone and my home is a safe zone, and then um, I wanted like a treat, like a snack, some candy, and I asked my mom to get it for me. And I guess her way of helping me to resolve my issues of staying indoors was for her to tell me to go and do it myself. And that didn't go too well because as soon as I walked up to the gas station, and then um, there was like a group of guys, and I don't know, I think women go through that in general, where it's like you see a guy and you tell him kindly to like leave you alone, and then you take it to like an extreme level, and then um, Elephant and I we just decided to just not really go out anymore because it's like the world keeps proving my point that nowhere and nobody is safe.
So it sounds like that you actually did go out and you tried to take initiative and tried to go out and take a few steps of moving forward and meeting your parents in the middle, like you said that you were trying to do last week by going out and getting your own snacks, but it didn't exactly work out the way you thought it would.
Mm. So, and it was like I could call like the cops or something to let them know that I felt in danger, but at the same time I was kind of like, what are they going to do? So I just handled it the way that I always do, and I went back into my room and locked the door, and then I was okay for a moment after I started to breathe again, but nobody takes it seriously in the house where I have those moments where I just can't breathe, and I start to like shake a lot. And my parents should just think I'm just overreacting, I'm just being dramatic, but it really does feel like I'm choking, and they don't. I don't know how to explain how they feel.
Those moments, those sound really scary.
You know, I try to focus on Elephant whenever I have those types of moments, but it's like it's like he's telling me, I'm gonna be okay and to like breathe, but it's like you can't tell somebody to breathe and they can't breathe. It's like you forget how to breathe in that moment. So he tries to calm me as much as he can. I usually just lay down and I end up falling asleep eventually. Then it just makes my parents even more mad because to them it's like I'm not doing anything. So
So in those moments, sounds like you're suffocating almost.
yeah. I was trying to look at the symptoms, um, and some of it was like panic attacks, but then I think people pass out when they have panic attacks. I don't know if taking a nap would say that I would pass out. I think it's just like I'm trying to calm down. So, but then I thought about if it was a panic attack, then I should be on medication for it. But then I was like, I don't really want to take medication because then it'll just make me seem a little like crazy, in my opinion. So, yeah, I don't think anything's wrong with me.
So what kind of triggers um, that feeling of suffocation?
It's very unsafe. Like when I step outside my home and I don't know, it's people um I read online. Have you ever like walked into a class late and everybody just turns to look at you? It's just like that. It's like as soon as I step out of my front door, people just like look my way. And it's kinda like it's like in my mind they're already planning something or they're watching me, so it's like I just step right back into my home and I'm just like, never mind. Just forget it. 'Cause it's just like people watching your every move, no matter where you are. And if you look at the news, it's like a lot of things happen when people go out alone. And there's not really much Elephant can do to protect me, so that triggers it. Whenever I feel like I'm being watched, I just instantly take off.
So as soon as you walk out the door of your house, you're feeling like you're being watched.
Yeah, I feel like another incident of harm is going to occur. in my opinion. Like maybe Elephant talked about it before with the being like when I tried to work and then I got close to someone and they kind of like harmed me, and then it was like flashbacks of that, like flashbacks of being outside of my home and people who consider themselves to be good Samaritans turn out to be like devils in disguise. So it's kind of like, what's the point if I can't really tell who has a mask and who's actually showing their real faces? So,
So when you go outside of your house and you see the people staring at you, you kind of have flashbacks to the time when you were working, and that I remember last week you were telling me that you tried to befriend that guy, you tried to befriend the guy, and he harmed you.
he took it. It's like I think people take kindness for weakness. Um, but I never. I feel like that saying could go two ways. When it's like I was thinking maybe I could find a companion outside of Elephant because he seemed really genuine. And he was kind to me and I was kind to him, but I guess he thought, me being kind and me being that safe and sheltered person that would be easier to control. And for a moment, I would say I was a little bit manipulated by like his charm and things like that and how friendly he was and a little bit naive, but I guess everything happens for a reason. I think that because that happened, it taught me that everything is better if you just stay indoors, basically. You can't get harmed if you stay by yourself.
So in that incident, when you tried to basically find a companion, someone other than Elephant, um, that didn't go well. It kind of just confirmed your beliefs that people are very manipulating and deceiving.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to tell who is and who isn't trying to like harm you. So it's like staying away from people in general, or just places where people like, because it's almost like there's places to run, but they're always going to find you. There's places to go, but I don't really think about that. I just think about the fact that I'm out here and I'm easy to take. So I may as well just stay where I know people can't come and get me, like a lock on my door, and I always keep my windows closed. So
So if you stay inside, with your windows locked and your door locked and closed, you're safe in there.
yeah, like my parents call me paranoid. I wouldn't consider it to be paranoid. I would consider it to be safe. Like I'll go to the mailbox and check the mailbox every now and again if Elephant is with me. I'll I just think it's like I feel like everybody should just be a little bit cautious when they're alone and my age and you know, especially with how the world is now. I don't consider it paranoia. I consider it being safe.
So what your parents call being paranoid, you call being cautious.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to.
So by being cautious, you kind of protect yourself from harm.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you said that this incident confirmed the incident of you trying to confide in someone else other than Elephant or befriend someone else other than Elephant, confirmed that people are deceiving and manipulating. Um, that people are deceiving and manipulating because this incident happened. I remember you saying last week when you were around 4 years old.
When I was younger, yes. And being like in school with other kids who just like I know they say kids are brutally honest, but they're also just as bad as adults when it comes to like friends and being bullied in situations like that, which I've had a lot of bullying situations, so yeah, it's terrible. But in my opinion, I think there's well, Elephant thinks that I'm taking a few steps in being I don't want to say cured because I still don't think that there's anything wrong with wanting to stay in my home. I just don't understand why people could consider themselves homebodies, but I'm considered disordered. So I don't understand that.
Yeah, it sounds like you're just trying to take a few steps in the right direction to try to, meet your family in the middle to make them happy.
I'm trying to meet them in the middle, but it's kind of hard. It's like, what places could be safe outside of home, in my opinion. So, it's why I have to lock a grocery store until everybody would get out. So, it's like, it doesn't really make sense to me.
So it's more protection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a sense of protection and safety. Elephant carry, he protects me in a mental way where it's like, you shouldn't talk to this person or you shouldn't leave this person alone. But if it's like combat, then it's separate.
So it sounds like Elephant um, helps you kind of be with your mind, like helps you mentally
Yeah.
process things and think about things. But when it comes to physical and you said combat, he can't really help you with that.
That's the purpose of it. Well, we were saying that the good thing about coming here is to be on track to just seeing how we can, instead of going outside and automatically thinking to myself, this person's going to harm me. It's like, let's try to just like keep maybe like our phones close to us in case something does happen. But it's like, I just want to prevent things from happening to the point where I don't even need my phone when I'm out. But it's like, we're just trying to basically be able, well, he always complains about being in the room all the time. Like, he wants to go to parks and drive around and things like that. And I was just kind of like trying to compromise with more so him than my parents at this point. So, because he's here with me in sessions and my parents, they're not. So.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like he's ready to kind of get out there and to go out and do different things and go venture, but you're still weary and still, wanting to protect yourself from harm.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what harm is to you or what it means?
The best way that I could like explain that is through like examples and like the two different kinds that I've dealt with. Like, harm in itself, mentally, I feel like I'm mentally harmed by my parents because it's like they always tried to turn me into something that I wasn't, and they would never support me, so I always felt like something was wrong with me. But it's kind of hard to break out of how I am now when I never really got any type of positivity from them. And like, in school, when I would get picked on for just having elephant with me and things of that nature, and then physical harm from how people say their body is a temple, and like when I had that coworker who just wanted to like basically destroy um, what people will say is supposed to be your sacred zone or whatever. So I don't really. It's like you've been harmed like for a while, in my opinion.
So it sounds like you've really endured various types of harm, starting with your parents who um, kind of try to push you into something that you're not and make you into somebody who you're not. Never gave you the reassuring or positivity that any child needs. And then the bullying in the school that you endured, and then even the physical harm that you endured.
No, just terrible. That's why I was kind of like, how do you how do you explain to your parents that you don't want to go out in the world because you know for sure that you're going to be harmed because you dealt with it all your life? And I've tried to explain it to them in a way, and to them they're just kind of like, it's life. Everybody's going to harm you. And it's like, well, then why can't I just avoid everybody and stay by myself? And that caused even more issues.
So when you did kind of talk to your parents about it, they kind of rejected what you were saying and said and just kind of chalked it up to this is life and just deal with it.
Basically, yeah. That's why me and Elephant feel once we're able to step outside of the door without feeling as if somebody's gonna harm us, we could probably get our own place and feel better, and we won't have to hear the negativity. But then we realize in order to have your own place, you have to work, and if I have to go back to working, I don't really think I'd be able to make it that far. So unless I could work from home, but that would be kind of hard to do.
So it sounds like you wanna, get out of your parents' house and, live on your own. Um, but in order to do that, you have to have a job.
Yeah. So we've tried the working thing out before, and it wasn't really what everybody made it cut out to be. So it's kind of like, um, maybe we could sell stuff. But even if I were to move out of my parents' place, I wouldn't know where to go because you have neighbors that could harm you. You have like people to come and fix things. It's just nowhere safe. So I guess staying with my parents wouldn't be so bad as long as I just try to ignore everything that they say.
So it sounds like you're always cautiously on guard, looking out and looking around all the various ways that you could get harmed.
Mhm.
That must be really hard.
It's hard, but I feel like I thought that that's what everyone's mindset was. Where I feel like that's the purpose of people purchasing like mace and guns and things like that. I'm just one of the people who chooses to just avoid having to use those things because then what if the results don't roll in my favor and then I end up somewhere else and things get worse. So it's like you have to be cautious, in my opinion. And the best way to deal with it is to just stay out of people's way. So I stayed in my room.
So you used to see society basically as a place where everybody's really protecting themselves.
Mhm.
But for you, your protection is to stay isolated, or stay indoors in your safe zone instead of purchasing a firearm or mace or something of that matter.
It's better to just stay out of harm's way because every man for himself quote kind of shows in general with society nowadays. It's like if somebody were to actually see me being harmed, they wouldn't come over and help me. They would just either record or go the other way because it's not their business or that person could harm them too. So I just stay where I can protect myself.
So it sounds like you feel as if even if you were to go out and somebody were to harm you, that others wouldn't come to your rescue.
This is how it seems. It seems like everybody's just like they're just gonna mind their business, but also be nosy at the same time. If that makes sense. It's like they'll help if it benefits them, if it makes them look like a good person, but they don't really want to help, or they'll just watch, or they'll just like pretend like they don't see or hear anybody being harmed, and they'll just walk the other way because they don't want to get involved and they don't want to be harmed, and it's every man for himself.
So you kind of believe that if you are getting harmed, that people who do come to rescue you are more doing it for their benefit, so they can look good. So they kind of have an ulterior motive. Or if they might choose to just kind of close a blind eye and keep walking.
Be terrible. You can't really do much, and nobody really takes elephants seriously. So it's like if I were to tell them like elephant told me, don't talk to you, or maybe I should go. Elephant tells me that this isn't somewhere we should be. Then it's like it gets worse because then they think that I'm trying to be funny or something, and then it's just like, yeah, nobody can hear what he tells me but me. Now I keep forgetting that.
So when you tell people that elephant is saying this place is not safe, or this is not the right way to go, they don't take it seriously.
They don't. They see him as a stuffed animal, and I see him as a friend. So of course, people are gonna see things with it. They want to see them. That's what my mom would say all the time, and she doesn't understand how she is talking about herself when she tells me that.
So you kind of talk to your mom about this situation.
Yeah, Yeah, I talked to her in general about it because I tried to talk to my dad and he was just kind of like he just waves me away. My mom, she has a moment where she'll try to listen and understand it because I think she's honestly just fed up with how I am in general. And to her, it's like maybe if I listen to her more, she'll open up more, and then she'll see that it's not all bad. But then she'll turn around and she'll be hypocritical, or she's like, "I'm here for you," and she's like, "You can trust me," but then she turns around and she does or says some harmful things. So it's like, how can you tell me the world is safe and you're literally being the type of person that I'm trying to avoid? It doesn't make sense. So my family's very backwards.
So it sounds like when you've confided in your father, he doesn't want to hear it. But your mother does kind of entertain what you're saying, but then she rejects it as well.
Mm.
And you try to explain to them, this is exactly what I'm trying to avoid, the harm that you're showing me.
Yeah. And what you just said with the entertaining, I think that's what I'm doing. I think I'm just entertaining her. I don't think she's actually taking it seriously. And that's the part that kind of annoys me. Because, like I said, nobody takes me seriously because I have elephants. So it's like, I just wish everybody could hear how right he is when he tells me things about other people. So, yeah.
So you feel like if others heard how right Elephant is when he tells you this person will harm you or this area is harmful, don't enter it, then they would be more understanding and accepting of him.
Yeah, they will understand it. If they had a friend like him, then they will understand why, like why I act this way and why I choose to just stay to myself. Because for both of us, it's just better to just be alone. But at this point, now that we've been through so much, he's kind of like it's time to fight back and it's time to grow up and try to show the world that they haven't destroyed us. But then I'm kind of like I don't feel the need to prove a point to anybody. I don't feel destroyed. I just feel like it's better to just stay in one place and not be outdoors.
So it sounds like Elephant's really ready to stand up and get out there, get out in the world and say, we're still here and we're still strong.
Yeah.
But you don't feel quite ready to take those steps.
Mm-hmm. I feel like they will judge me if I come outside and I'm like I'm still here. All the harm that you guys have caused hasn't really damaged me. I feel like they would laugh because it's like if it didn't damage me, then they would question why I choose to stay to myself. And I don't really feel the need to explain myself to anybody, especially if all they want to do is make situations worse.
So you feel like if you did get out there and you said, look, I'm still here, you didn't destroy me,
Mm-hmm.
they would kind of question that because you still prefer to stay in your room in your safe zone.
Mm-hmm. I just prefer to stay away from everyone because everybody does nothing but harm each other and others, so I don't understand the point.
I know you said you came here to kind of meet your family in the middle. It sounds like you might be trying to meet Elephant as well
Mm-hmm.
in the middle.
Yeah. He matters more than my parents. I know it sounds a little wrong to say that because these are people who gave me life, but he's the one person who's been there and who understands me more than they do. So it's like just so me and Elephant are on a bad page. Like I don't want to be in a bad place with somebody who's been there for me through everything. So I'm just trying to continue to keep him happy, but then he's also trying to keep me happy. And you feel in order to do that, we would have to compromise. But his side of the compromisation is just like that's a bit much. Like he said we should go for a walk, like to a park or something. He suggested it, and I got dressed, and we were gonna go, but it's like I don't know. Then I started to explain to him all the things that could happen to people in parks, like that I've seen on the news and things like that. But I only play the news to prove a point to him that it's not safe.
Sounds like Elephant is extremely important to you, and you're really trying to take those steps to show him um, that I want to meet you in the middle, and I want to compromise and kind of find a middle ground with you. But you're kind of unsure exactly what would be a good compromise
Yeah.
for both of you.
Like we can't find a starting point because for him it's like every place that he suggested that we should go to, I'll instantly tell him that, but did you watch the news or and he gets upset when I do that. Like he'll name places like let's go to a park that's safe or let's go to like a school playground, something like that. Children, what the children probably do to you, things like that. And take it one step at a time. But then I just continue to give him what I see as facts that it's not safe. So that's our purpose of even being here to find a starting point and to see if we can grow from there.
So it sounds like when he kind of says, let's go to a park or, somewhere that there's children, so it has to be kind of a safe place as he believes it is. You still kind of refute that and show him, facts that you find on the news of why this place is not safe.
He's, yeah, it's he gets upset when I do that, but I don't. It's not that I'm trying to be stubborn. It's just that I'm trying to prove my point. But and for him, it's like, but he's with me, and it's like I can stand to be out somewhere with him. Like we came here, so that's one thing. It's like I came here with him. It's not always easy, but we make it here. But we come here to go right back home. When we're at a park, he's kind of like, let's do this, let's play this and do that. And I'm just like, no, let's go home. We've been out here way too long. Even if it's only been 10 or 20 minutes, it's still out in the open and there's a lot of people and it's not okay.
So when you go to this park, I know you said you tried to go there and stay out for a few minutes, but you sounds like you just constantly kept thinking this is not safe. Let's leave.
Mm-hmm. You look at how many people are there and how open it is. It's like we're out in the open. There's a lot of people, and anything can happen. Like just because a park is supposed to be like it's an open space, it's a safe space where people play and things like that. Bad things still happen in good places. So I tried to explain that to him. He just kind of got upset with me. We still went back to my room and just kind of laid down.
What do you think that could happen?
I feel like if we were to wander off, because we don't really know anybody at that park. I feel like it would be one of those instances where someone could try to harm me or steal from me or hurt me in any kind of way, and then people would see me being harmed and they would just continue to walk. And it's like, what's the point? Because there's a trail at the park, and he was like, let's walk on the trail. But anybody who walks on the trail, I heard that your phone signal goes away. And if we're compromising on places to go, they at least have to be places where I could reach some type of safety. So if we're walking on a trail and it's out in the open and my phone signal isn't working, then that's that's a harmful situation. So I just don't think he's taking into account that a lot of the places he suggests are just unsafe.
So it sounds like when you go to this park and you constantly are thinking that harm can happen to you in this area in this zone, and it doesn't matter that it's open place. There's possible you could lose signal and you won't have anybody to reach out to you, and it ties back to if somebody does see you getting harmed, they're not going to do anything about it.
I'm just gonna keep walking, and it'll just prove my point that the best place to be is in the safe space of our own home.
So what would be a compromise that you're willing to do for Elephant?
Places like here, like where it's not a lot of people and my phone works, um, and my home is close, so it's just places where it's like I know people aren't or can't really harm me because there's nothing there for them to harm me with, or I have a way of getting out because I know where I am and I'm near home. So any place like that, I think we would be fine.
So you're saying that if you find a place that feels like almost like another safe zone for you,
Mm-hmm.
that you're willing to go there.
Yeah, we feel like as soon as we find another safe zone, that'll be our starting point, and we could possibly try to move on from there. But I really think that we should just focus on finding the safe zone, and the moving on point could come maybe a few years after we like get older, maybe.
So right now you just kind of want to start with finding one safe place, and then maybe in a few years, um, you can entertain other thoughts.
Yeah, we'll just me and Elephant agreed that we'll find one safe place, and then that'll be the place we go to when our parents are just kind of like get out of the room. So we'll find a place like that, and then we'll leave it at that for now.
Looks like that makes you a little bit anxious just thinking about possibly going or trying to find another safe zone.
Well, it's only because it's like I just don't think one exists, and I feel like that would make Elephant like it would make it seem to Elephant like I'm not trying, but it's like I am. It's just hard because no matter where I think we would go, it's going to end up being bad.
So it sounds like you're almost saying that Elephant might think that you're making excuses.
Yeah. And that's not something I really- So I was like, I'm not trying to make excuses because then he says things like that. He reminds me of my parents, or like you're just making excuses. You could do this and you can do that, but it's like no. If you would just look at the news, or if you would just like be out by yourself, like, it may not have happened to you yet, but it's about to happen. And other people are better at surviving than some, so I guess that's probably why our parents don't understand because they're better at it than I am.
So it sounds like you're feeling a little bit like Elephant's reminding you a little bit of your parents because he's pushing you a little bit too hard.
Yeah, he has moments where he does that, where he's just like, "You're gonna be fine," but then he at least tries to compromise with me and tell me, it's fine. We'll try again another day. We just keep having a trial and error thing with this entire situation. So
Well, that's great that you are trying to meet him in the middle and that you are, even though you don't feel comfortable with it, that you are trying to show him that you're trying. How do you think he feels about that the effort that you're making?
I think he's proud of me when I take that step, but then I think he gets disappointed when I take another step back. I think you take one step forward and 10 steps back. And I don't know. I feel like I try as hard as I can, and he understands that. But then he's also like, but you can't keep moving back. You got to keep moving forward, which is actually a reference that he used from a Pixar movie. Of course, my favorites.
So it sounds like he's saying that, he's saying that's great that you're trying to move forward and that you're taking one step
Mm-hmm.
forward. But when you do that, taking the 10 steps back is counterproductive.
Yeah, it is. Well, for him, it's counterproductive. For me, I think it's like, okay, I peaked. I tried it. Can we go back to what I want to do now? But for him, it's like it's not compromising. If I'm just gonna like stand somewhere for a few seconds, then turn around and stay in my room for hours. So it's like I was like, maybe if we could time it, um, if we could split the days between how much time I could spend in my room and how much time I could spend outside. We thought about doing that, but he feels like I would cheat and make excuses. So
So y'all have talked about trying to split the days or the hours, maybe the time that you can spend inside, and the amount of time that you can commit to going outside. But he doesn't think that'll work because you're gonna make excuses for why you can't go outside.
yeah, like I don't consider them to be excuses. Like if the weather channel says it's gonna storm or it's gonna rain and it's like maybe we should stay inside. Who wants soggy clothes? But to him, it's like it's just rain. It's just water. So it's like, well, we'll just bicker about things like that. And I don't know. I try to compromise with him, but I don't feel like he's compromising with me. It's not like it's easy for me to just say, oh yeah, let's go outside and meet the world when he knows I don't feel comfortable with the world and stuff.
So you feel like you are making those sacrifices
Mhm.
and that you are trying to meet him in the middle and compromise with him, but it sounds like you feel like that's still not enough for him.
I also think it's enough. Like he's just trying to take up my energy, just like my parents are at times. But on the bright side, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's probably just tired of being in the room, and I feel like I isolate him. He shouldn't have to suffer if I'm the one that has the issues.
So your thinking is that you understand kind of what he's saying, um, that you feel like you're kind of isolating him because you're the one that wants to stay indoors.
Mm-hmm. Like I want to help him, but it's kind of hard to help him when I can barely help myself. But then he's like, well, he can help me, and I'm kind of like, can't help me if you don't understand what it is that goes through my mind. So I don't think
So you feel like he's trying to help you, but he still can't fully help you because he's not understanding what's going on in your mind. Even though he is your best friend and your secret keeper.
so. It's like he's been there for me, but he hasn't. He's not in my shoes, and he's not me. So it's like I tell him my secrets, but I don't tell him everything that goes through my mind when I'm outside. And then I'm also kind of like, if you understood how I felt, then you would feel the same way I do. That shaky, breathless feeling of being around a lot of people, but he doesn't. So it's like it doesn't make any sense. I'm trying to work with you, but you have to work with me and understand that I want to be able to breathe, if that's okay.
What are some of the things that go through your mind when you step outside? I know you said you feel like there's harm. Can you explain more about what kind of things that when you go outside?
I feel like it's I feel like it's like I'm being watched, and then I also feel like it's just people planning to just get me or they're judging me because I have elephant in my pocket, and then I feel like they're just silently judging me, and I don't like that. I don't like when people feel like they know me and they just make assumptions about how I am, or they think I'm just like this crazy person because I'm talking to like a stuffed animal, but it's like, you know, they just have to see it from my point of view, and I feel like that would just attract even more harmful people because they see me as this person who's weak and vulnerable because I have elephant with me, but I'm just trying to get through the day. That's all. And people don't really like it when they see other people happy. Misery loves company, apparently.
Sounds like when you do go outside, you're on constant guard, thinking about the people that can harm you
Mm-hmm.
and how people are constantly judging you when they have no right to judge you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what causes those kind of feelings where you can't breathe.
Yeah. Where it's like I get into an episode where it's like, okay, they're watching me, they're judging me, they're they're going to see how far they can push me, and it's like when I see people looking at me, then I'm kind of like, okay, they're gonna come over here, they're gonna snatch away Elephant, like how they did when I was younger, how kids would see Elephant and they try to take him, and I would have to like whine and try to get him back, and it would scare me because then I think that they will harm him, and I just feel like now that I'm older, it'll be even worse. Like they would throw him and I wouldn't be able to find him, or they would harm me and get rid of him. So it's like it's
So it sounds like it also kind of takes you back to moments when you go outside. It takes you back to moments when you were younger, and the kids were kind of bullying you.
like a flashback, and it's like I relive that flashback if I continue to be outside. So And y'all know elephant is like, it's okay. It's like, I don't like when people tell me it's okay because you think it's okay because you're not the one that has to go through it. But I'm pretty sure I'm not okay. So,
So it sounds like Elephant really tries to comfort you in those moments and tell you to kind of calm down. It's going to be okay. But he just can't even understand um, what it is that you're going through in those moments and those flashbacks that you're feeling and going through.
mhm. It's like, I wonder if he even understands how terrible it would be if they were to take him and harm him, like rip him, like his stitches and things like that. And if they were to like throw him and I wouldn't be able to even find him, then I feel like it would make an episode of mine be worse to the point where like, I would have to, like, there are moments where I wouldn't even breathe, I'd probably just stop breathing.
That must be hard. It really sounds like just even thinking about the possibility of losing Elephant is almost unbearable.
Because he's like the only reason that I even come out of the house. So it's like my parents would be even more terrible towards me because if the elephant wasn't here, then I wouldn't go anywhere at all. And then that would cause even more issues at home, and then everything would just spiral out of control.
So you feel as if Elephant was gone, it would be even a worse situation between you and your parents because you wouldn't go out at all.
Yeah, it would be terrible for like me and my parents, and then me and the world in general. So, mm-hmm.
So it'd be a terrible situation for you and for the world, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me more about that?
Like, it would be terrible because it would be like I would just try to, like, my parents, if they were to most people thought elephant, and I feel like they wouldn't even care. So it'd be a situation where they would have to see me, if they even did, if they have an ounce of love for me, they would probably just see me on the floor, not even breathing. And then the nurses who claim that they do all they can to save a patient, then they would see me not even trying, just making their job harder, which would just make more room for even more harm because regardless, even if they did revive me, I try to make it my goal to just give them a terrible day and go back to wherever I went when I close my eyes.
Sounds like you think about every possible case scenario
Mm-hmm.
that could happen.
Yeah, I feel like I think like that's what people need to do when they're out. Like you have to think about all the odds. You have to think of how you could escape. You have to be alert. That's how I see it. People see it as being paranoid. I see it as being alert.
So what people see as being paranoid, you see as being alert
Mm-hmm.
because you're thinking ahead.
Yeah.
And by doing that, how do you feel like that's helpful for you?
I feel like I'm more prepared than other people are when it comes to life and situations in general. Like when other people get harmed, I know it sounds bad, but it's like I want to tell them if you would just stay put at home, none of this would happen to you, like me. So I feel like if people will listen to me instead of judge me, they'd be better off.
So it sounds like you feel like you kind of have the answer to how society can fix the people being harmed.
If they think that my plans are ridiculous because it's like if we don't go out into the world, then we can't like continue with buying things and working, like when everybody could just work from home. Like you can order groceries now, and you don't have to see people. Um, you could find a job, probably. Um, you may not have to work inside of your house, but maybe they could work closer, or if they find a companion like elephant, then they'd be better off. I think the reason that people harm other people is because they have nobody to care for them. But if they had like elephant or someone like that, then they'd be better.
So you feel like it's definitely a possibility for everyone really in society to kind of stay home. There's various ways that you can work it out, like ordering your groceries and
Mm-hmm.
getting a job at home and if you have a companion and a friend, then that's really all you need.
Yeah, it's better to just, if everybody just had that one person that they cared and trusted the most, then there wouldn't really be much of a dangerous part in society. But I think it's the lonely people that ruin us. And I think that's the purpose of people trying to take elephant from me so I can feel what they feel. But I think that's just terrible.
So you said you think that it's the lonely people that ruin us?
It's like if you don't have anybody to talk to, you don't have anybody that's there for you. I get that, and I felt that way when I was younger. Before I received elephant, it was like I felt like I'm being harmed because I was alone and people didn't really want to be around me, and that can cause issues. That can make people question themselves, and then it's like, well, if you guys don't want to be around me, then I'll make sure that you know you really feel comfortable when you're near me again. But if you have somebody like Elephant where they're telling you it's not you, it's them. They're calming your thoughts and they're making you feel more like, well, maybe they should just, if they had a friend, they'd be happier. Bitter people are the ones that do the baddest things.
So it sounds like when you were younger, before you had an elephant, you felt alone and you felt lonely, and you didn't have anybody on your side or there for you. Um, and I know you said your parents really caused you harm by not really being there for you or caring about you or installing any positivity in you. Then when you got elephant, things just got a lot better because he was constantly reassuring you and telling you everything's going to be okay.
Therefore, so I was like, that's a lot better to have a friend than to have no one. I think I'd rather have an elephant than anybody else.
So having a friend kind of makes living life a lot better.
Yeah, it does. It makes it more tolerable.
So for you, elephant makes life a lot more tolerable.
Mm-hmm.
And what's your? I know you said your goal is kind of to meet elephant um, in the middle, but what's your main goal that you want to get kind of out of counseling?
My main goal is to, at the end of the day, have me and Elephant both happy. To where it's like, I understand why he wouldn't want to be isolated in the room a lot. So it's like just to be able to calm the thoughts that people are out to get me, then maybe we can move forward from there. So the goal is to just have positive thinking, I would say. I think that's a way for me, he and I to be in the middle. Because he says that's one of the main reasons that I must have all these issues. It's my negative thinking of thinking that people are out to get me. So if just to see the world for what it could be and not for all the madness. Like, there's probably more to it than beyond what I've gone through. So
So it sounds like you've taken those first steps and you're really entertaining the thoughts that the world could be more than what I've personally endured, and that you want to change those negative thoughts that you feel like you are having.
yeah, just to be more positive. It sounds easy to some people where it's like, just start by saying, I'll be fine. But that just causes even more of an issue where it's like, just like in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'll be fine, but then in the back of my mind, I'm like, but then again, this and that. So,
So it sounds like you need more than just I'll be fine.
yeah,
You need something more to help change those negative thoughts that you have.
yeah. That's like the only exercise that I've ever been told Elephant was like, before we go anywhere, just look in the mirror and say, everything's gonna be okay. But then it's like, I'm like, everything's gonna be okay, but then the TV's on, and I'm like, it's another news report on somebody that's been hurt or murdered. And it's like, how you just, that's kind of, it doesn't make sense. Everything's gonna be okay, but then the TV is telling me that it's not safe.
So it sounds like you've tried to take some steps to kind of calm your negative thoughts by looking at yourself and reassuring yourself that everything's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But then watching television or seeing something in society kind of confirms your negative thoughts that it's not going to be okay.
Mm-hmm. Just like you gotta. I don't know. I keep the TV on the news to continuously prove my point. Because every time I even get a thought that I could go out, it just changes.
So it sounds like by doing that, by keeping the TV on just to prove your point, you're kind of counteracting the positivity that you're telling yourself.
Just try to block it out, but you can't because it's like there's nothing but madness everywhere. So there's no point, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, we're definitely going to try to work on some of those negative thoughts that you have. I think this week I want you to try to write down some of your negative thoughts and how they make you feel, and when you're thinking them, you know, what time of day you're thinking about them, how they make you feel, and what you're thinking. So then next week we can pull that up and talk about it and go through it together to see if we can help change those thoughts and kind of make them more positive. Does that sound like something you're willing to do?
Yeah, I could do that. You know, thinking start list.
Okay. So we'll do that and then we'll meet next week at the same time, okay?